On this episode of Between the Frame, I'm filming a horror-themed short film, but with a twist. I only have an hour to film. Let's see if I can do it. So, here's the game plan. We'll be filming this short film at our local airsoft field called Rats. And during every game day, they have a lunch break that lasts an hour. Our goal is to film an entire short film in that hour. It's my cat. So, this short film is a collaboration between my friend Foolish Rabbit, go check him out, and myself. And it's supposed to be promoting his new clothing design. He wanted some little teaser to go along with his branding that will show off the new designs coming out, and I felt up for the challenge. I had a couple of ideas in mind, but for now, let's start on de-rigging this Nikon ZR, because as much as I love these accessories, with only an hour to film, I think I want to go as minimal as possible. That means matte box coming off, don't need the step-up ring, V-mount battery and plate, ugh, don't need that either. Top charging handle, we'll actually keep this, we'll keep the top handle. And actually, that's it. We're just gonna take this right here. So with our rig set up, I'm going to explain the concept of the video while I pack my bag, because I actually have to get on the road pretty soon. So, Rabbit loves horror. His whole persona kind of is this slasher villain that uses a chainsaw in airsoft. So I was thinking we paid homage to that by doing one of the classic horror films where, you know, you have a character like Michael Myers who's always lurking behind you and you never know when he's gonna appear around the corner. And that should be pretty simple in itself, with just a few cuts to kind of establish the suspense. Thinking about how I'm going to write the storyboard, I think I'm gonna have one orbiting shot around the character, so I'm going to bring my gimbal, my DJI RS4 Mini. Absolutely love this thing, but now that I'm rigging out cameras more, I think I might need the big boy, the RS4 Pro. We have my journal so that I can write a storyboard when I get to my girlfriend's place, because that's kind of the halfway point between my place and the field we're filming at. I'll have my little MagSafe camera adapter that goes onto your cold shoe mount to film some behind the scenes for you all, and a few extra batteries because I'm probably gonna film other stuff this weekend. Definitely won't run out of battery in the hour film time that we have, but if we want to film other stuff, then we'll see. And a tiny little light, because we'll be filming indoors in a dark abandoned school, might need some lighting, and you know, a cloth right there. So I think that is going to be the concept for this video. We'll see how he likes it. Any adjustments he makes, I can kind of make it on the fly, but I think that is a golden video. We'll see. So I'm gonna get going now. I will meet you guys again when I get to the halfway point and start on the storyboard. So I just got to the halfway point. We are filming tomorrow for this little ad, and because I only have about an hour to 45 minutes to film this, I drew up a storyboard. It's a bit crude, but it gives a nice gist of what's going on here and all the scenes that we're going to need to film. I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to use my favorite lens at this point, but for that I'm gonna need a gimbal for some shots, so I tried to limit the scenes to only have to calibrate my gimbal for one shot. We'll see how this works out, and hopefully the footage isn't too shaky. So I'm back at the apartment. We wrapped up filming, and I made a mistake because I didn't film the initial BTS of setting up and doing everything. I was so caught up in filming for the Airsoft channel and for this channel that I completely forgot. But I did get behind the scenes content. I got a nice first person view of me shooting everything, and you'll see that up on screen right here. We were able to get all the shots that I wanted. I was able to transitioned to the gimbal with time, and we got a little bit of a surprise in there. We brought in a little bit of an asset to up the realism of the video. You'll probably see that in the final product, but now it is time for editing. So I'm gonna head over onto the editing rig and start this edit. So I have my timeline up here, and the first thing we are going to do is work on the initial clip. I already got everything laid out and everything the way I want to. I just want to show you my workflow for editing a video and getting it looking nice and crispy. So if we look at this, we have a lot going on right here. What is all of this? Well, I'm working with red footage because I'm using the Nikon ZR. R stands for red. It's like a cinema camera thing. You don't need to know about that. But what you do need to know about is CSTs. I see a lot of people with these boring grades on their footage, and that's what really got me into color grading and learning how to manipulate footage to look a certain way. And man, did I have my work cut off for me, because Rabbit wanted to film at night, but I could not stay for the night game. So we shot day for night. If you're wondering what day for night is, it's a lot of times in movies and TV shows, you see a night scene that's well lit and you're like, man, why can't I see everything? And I don't see any lights anywhere. It's because they shot in the daytime and they color graded it to look like night. So we're gonna take this opening shot right here. If I hide the clips at the bottom, make this a little bigger for you all to see. And this is our opening shot. We have him running in through there, peeking around. Had to manipulate the focus a little bit because this is a manual lens. Lean in, see a nice little blood stain on the side, and our villain, bad guy monster walks into frame and is silhouetted. That is definitely shot during the day, so we are going to show it as nighttime. And how do we do that? Day for night. So we start off with our CSTs. This stands for color space transform. We have our first CST going in, and that is turning our input color space, the color space we're working on, from red wide gamut RGB to red log 3G10. And we're trying to turn these two into our output color space, which is, we're working in DaVinci Resolve. So we're going to go into DaVinci wide gamut and DaVinci wide intermediate. That is the color space of the editing software. So we're basically taking our footage, log color space, converting it into DaVinci's color space, because that's the editing software we're working into. And now our image looks like this. Let me find where you see him. There we go. Right there-ish. What's next? Well, we have all these other nodes that we're not going to worry about, because then we have to do our output color space. And with our output color space, we're going to go from DaVinci wide gamut and DaVinci wide intermediate to Rec 709 and Gamma 2.4. Rec 709 is like the standard color space. Gamma 2.4 is the color calibration my monitor is set to. So this allows me to view the footage in a color accurate setting because my monitor is Gamma 2.4. Boom. And that is our Rec 709 conversion. This is basically what I was seeing on my camera screen while I was filming. So this is obviously right now shot during the day. How do we get this to look like nighttime? So first we're going to get our footage adjusted properly. We're going to adjust our primaries, which in our primaries I also adjusted the color tint a little bit. But with our primaries we're going to do things like fix our shadows. We're going to raise our shadows to what we want them to be. We're going to fix our highlights. I darkened it because I knew I was going to have this be at night. So we're going to fix that. Ooh, there we go. Primaries, turn that on. We're going to fix our nighttime look by lowering that. I adjusted our pivot and our contrast to add a little bit more contrast into the image. And next we're going to go into our HDR wheel. This is high definition range. So we're gonna make a new node, go into HDR, and there I made it look a little more like nighttime. Darkened it up quite a bit, made the darks of our darks darker, and I thought this would look good as like a little moonlight. That's why I adjusted it to a bluish tone, because Normally in movies, when you see blue, you're thinking nighttime. So I adjusted that a little bit, emphasized the light to say like there's a bright moon going through the window. Next, I adjusted my curves. I actually lowered the saturation of a lot of stuff, and you'll see why next when we get to the night color tab, but I lowered the saturation of stuff a little bit. If we look at our curve, let's see, which one? Yeah, here. I lowered the saturation of our brightest, darkest points and brightest points, and did some adjusting there, because then we're going to go to our night color right here, and that's what's going to add the bluish tint to that stuff. This is just a color generator, and on the color generator I set it to like a light bluish cyan, like powder blue kind of color, and the node itself I changed the composite mode to multiply. So this is basically overlapping that color onto the footage, and we get our final product of this opening shot. Looks like night. And if we go back right here and we look at the before and after, definitely daytime there, and this is passable as night. I actually showed my girlfriend this and she was like, oh, I kind of forgot that you guys had to film during the day. I thought this was all nighttime. Oh, I forgot my favorite node. It was hidden behind here. My favorite node, if we lower the effects, the film look. The film look added some, so I love film grain. I've deduced why I probably like film grain, but that's a story for another day. But I love film grain. I love the film look. So if we look into this effect tab right here, I used my own custom film look creator preset. I basically take the clean slate and kind of try and copy the 35mm without having everything in it. With the film look, I use Akasaka, which is basically, I think, DaVinci Resolve trying to mimic Fujifilm's look. Didn't do any much here. Didn't add halation for this time because I want it to be like a dark, gritty slasher film type of thing. But we did add some film grain. We added 35mm film grain and reduced the saturation, because honestly, when I see film grain with color in it, it just looks like noise, and I don't want noise in my footage. I want my footage to look clean, not noisy. But yeah, that's basically all we did with that. So it adds a little bit more teal into the blues and adds a nice little film grain on top of it. That is basically the workflow I used for every other one of these clips. This one, I decided to emphasize the orange of his chainsaw. So with that workflow, I basically just went into the color warper and grabbed our orange color and dragged it to a more saturated orange. Made it pop just a little bit more. And yeah, it follows suit throughout the whole thing. The location and the filming environment was pretty much the same in every spot of this building, so I kind of was able to just copy and paste my color grade onto every image and just make small adjustments to the exposure and bright values as needed, but it gave me a nice little base for everything. So I kind of went out of order because we already color graded, but what I like to do is lay out all of my clips onto the timeline and cut them up to see the general feel of how I want everything to be. After that, then I do color grade, and then we get into sound. And for sound, I kind of messed up because I was so focused on filming. I forgot about recording some Foley audio. And what Foley audio is basically you record the sound effects and the sounds of things inside your environment, because your audio is not always going to capture properly on camera, and sometimes you want things to linger, things like that. You get to manipulate the audio a little bit more. You'll hear it in shots like the footsteps of him walking up, and the chainsaw sound effects that kind of blend into each scene. The blood splatter when he steps into the blood, there's a nice little squish sound. So I didn't record them in the environment, so I had a lot of audio mixing to do, and I had to go and record some Foley art. Yes, that is me on the floor of my apartment recreating footsteps from the footage to overlay onto it. But after all that, then it's smooth sailing from there. So we got all of our sounds, we placed our sounds in interesting spots. We got our song, which I like to do too beforehand, because I tried to cut the film to match the high and low points of the song that we chose. So shout out to Artlist, not sponsored by Artlist, but was able to find music and good scores off of Artlist that I used for this film. And here you have things like our rising heartbeat, the ear-ringing sound. Right here we have the footsteps of Rabbit walking into frame. Back here we have the blood sound effects and the screen. I really wanted to do this practically, but I couldn't find my hands on a piece of acrylic, so I had to use one of my plugins to get this blood effect on the screen. And then, yeah, the final sound effect is the footsteps stepping out. If I had more time, I definitely would have had the two talents record their lines a little bit, maybe get some more grunts out of him to overlay in spots. But shout out to the Nikon ZR and its 32-bit float audio. I was able to manipulate the audio pretty well. It doesn't sound as good as I would want it to, but it worked enough for this. And then finally, my Acid Bites title. Love this. I love all these title packs. Again, not sponsored, but shout out to Acid Bites. And there we go. That is my editing process for this video. Color grading is great. I used to just use LUTs all the time, but when you use a LUT all the time, your look can be mimicked. So when you learn how to do things yourself, you know how to push and pull colors and environments yourself, then you can just make your own looks, which is fun. And then you can make your own LUTs, which I do. Not plugging LUTs in this video. I mean, I'm not selling you any LUTs. I'm just teaching you how to do the work. So, there you have it. A short film that was filmed in only 45 minutes. All the editing's done. All that's left is to send it over to Rabbit and see what he thinks. He loved it. Yeah. Who needed to worry about that anyways? Not me. Definitely not me. But at the end of the day, I want to see what you all think of the short film. So hit the link right above to take you to that video and go check out the short film that was filmed in 45 minutes. This is Chad Thomas, hoping to capture anything and everything between the frame. Have a good one.